On Twitter, I just checked it. Hey, we're live.
I don't see it.
No, I'm telling you. What do you mean?
Like I can't watch it.
I just said we're live.
I don't see it.
All right, we're live.
I don't think it's live.
No, we're live on our socials. This is the first time we're doing this, so if you're watching, going, what the hell are we watching? You're watching nothing right now. You're watching us in pre-show.
Should be used to this.
As we get ready to go, hey, can someone let Zier in?
Oh. Yeah, we don't want him to keep it.
We're live. Let's check YouTube. I didn't check YouTube. Are we live on YouTube?
I don't even know how to check if we're live on X.
This is a riveting stream so far. This is what you sign up for. We're live on X. I already saw it.
I can't see it.
We are live on YouTube.
Okay, thank you. We're live on YouTube as well. Why can't you find it, Delgado?
I didn't even get a notification.
Go to Live from Studio 6B. Go to our profile page. It's right there.
The great David Zia.
Nothing there.
We're live. It's right there. What do you mean? I'm looking at it.
I got it. Okay, yeah.
All right, now let's see. Here's the thing: can I see
This
any
is
of the
what I see.
comments?
This is what I see.
Go down. Scroll down a little bit.
Oh,
I mean,
that?
are you kidding me?
That's us?
Do you even know how to use social media?
No.
Okay. Hey, I see some comments here.
Hey, who the hell are you guys? Yes.
Look at this.
That's a good comment.
I can see Facebook comments. I can see YouTube comments.
All in the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, people see us. So we're going to be live on the network at 9, but we figured
Shut up.
shut up, Slick. All right. You know, I can curse now because we're not on the network.
Hey,
Yeah.
So
I'm
just
cursing
watch
here.
it. That's a nice red, by the way. What is
Thank
that,
you, sir.
February?
it's February.
So we figured we'd come on here and let's talk, let's answer or whatever. Tracy Owens says, awesome, guys. I love it. Why do I keep getting these spam
Viewer
calls?
mail.
It's just ridiculous.
Oh,
Rod Hammer says, hi from California, watching on Facebook. Tracy Owens is watching on Facebook.
What's up, Hammer?
Scott Hall is watching on Facebook. Lake of the Ozarks in the house. Robert Ratuno says, good evening, Rick and Big D. I don't know which Rick he's talking to.
gotta be regular Rick.
Don't got to be me. 'cause
Gary
there's only
Bishop
two of us here.
is watching on YouTube. Cheryl Lewis is watching on Facebook, as is Ken Richards from Rhode Island. So we should let's first get a what do we call it?
I don't know.
Roll call. Yeah, thank you.
Roll call.
Where everybody is.
Are we
And
on
then
Twitter?
yeah, we're on Twitter, we're on
Nice.
YouTube. The only one we haven't figured out is if we're on Instagram. We have no idea what's going on Instagram.
I'll try there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
I
I'm
can
on
see
it.
your
I'm on
profile,
it.
but
Are
you're
we
not
gonna
live.
get her?
I'm on Instagram, but I don't see where we're live.
No.
All right, so we'll have to work on that, but that's fine.
Get her, we can't get on, right?
No, we're not going to go live on Getter because Real America's Voice is live on Getter.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All
So
right.
we're not going to compete with them. We're
No,
on
we
our
won't
other
do that
socials,
to them.
which we haven't been doing because, of course, I was always worried about Delgado saying something that gets us thrown off, but now I don't care.
No, Delgado's not like that.
So,
Oh, yeah?
We had to worry when Paul was on. Now we're talking.
Ah. Poor Paul.
What happened to Paul?
I don't know. He
What
was
happened
here
to-
one day.
what happened to
Then he
Paul?
didn't come back.
he's gone. I see David Zier's in the house.
David Zia.
David Zier's
He
in
said
the
somebody
house.
somebody get the door.
Just come in. Don't worry. We're streaming, but it's very informal. So
Right.
we're just talking to the audience. So just come on in and.
Man,
What's up, David?
Is that John Leguizamo on the left? Yes.
Twitter feed. Yeah, that definitely. I've
Mr.
gotten that
Zier, how are you?
Thank you.
Cheryl Lewis, love you guys in Louisiana. That's good.
You're terrible.
You're terrible. I can't figure out. You know what?
Yeah, Twitter's just spinning here. Let me see what we got here. I got 97 on Twitter. Look at that. Look at that.
Chuck McCoy, the real McCoy from West Virginia, is watching on Facebook.
Real McCoy. I love that name.
So is Nolan gone or blowing his nose? No, he's neither.
Well.
He's neither gone nor blowing his nose. Although his nose, he had to have 2 surgeries.
Did he?
Yeah, he had to go
2?
back. The first one wasn't
Oh, they didn't do
Oh.
it right the first time?
Wow.
wasn't good, so he had to go back for a second one.
Wow. It's not what he was hoping for.
Naked Hammer Fight Club, all in the house. Ken Richards. What'd you say, Slick?
He said it was not what he was hoping for.
Jesus, what an idiot.
Oh, no.
What an idiot. Brian
Don't get us
Sharkey.
started there, Zia.
yeah, you don't want to go there.
Easy
Slow
there,
down
Mr. Zia. We know you were outside there trying to get in the door.
Right.
Aaron's like, please get me out of the studio as quickly as possible.
Yeah, she's been saying that since
Nancy,
she
how is
started.
Paul Nolan doing? Paul's doing great. Paul's doing great.
Well,
I think Paul will be back at some point in some form or fashion, maybe. Please update. Please,
Some form. Like what? Like ashes or a gel? Or what is he going to be back at?
that was very assertive, wasn't it?
yes.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Yowza.
His
Sorry,
Twitter.
Lowell.
Twitter is terrible, man.
Watching, what?
I mean, I'm watching on Twitter. It's like, forget it.
Yeah, it keeps losing the connection.
Terrible.
I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that.
Oh, no, X. Excuse me, X.
Let me go over here to X.
Yeah.
Unable to connect. Yeah, I see problems with X, so we're going to have to look at that stream.
They must be censoring us.
What the deal is, I'm not sure.
They heard about David.
So we're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna join the network. We're gonna be on at 9:00, but we figured we'd come on here in our socials a little early, and just kind of have a chat or take questions or whatever. All of you have any UFO questions? Delgado is here and ready.
Yes, I'm ready to dive right in. Thank you, Fran.
I love the fact that Fran has that like just right there.
He's got it on speed dial.
Right on.
Now. It's just as soon as he hears the word "you" or the letter "U," he's like, "Ding."
It's literally a button. I just have to push.
Yeah.
Delgado.
Brian says, watch you guys every night here in Georgia. Georgia's obviously a big part of the news today. Seems like turnout in the Georgia primary was seemingly
right?
pathetic. We got to get David Zier's mic on here and get him in a.
Well, I think it's because it's kind of a foregone conclusion, right? At this point, it's like Nikki Haley's not going to win.
800,000 out of, I think last time it was like 2 million, something like that. So they say.
In early voting, there were only like 400,000, which was low.
How are you, Mr. Zier?
I'm good. I'm great. Thank you for asking. Back in action. A little brief stint. You know, the fight with diabetes is never ending. And what
happened? I don't know if you want to talk about it, but so what happened?
It's like maintenance. You know, you got to go to Jiffy Lube once in a while, get an oil change.
Okay.
You know.
Is that the way you're going to describe it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but Jiffy Lube
They put you
isn't
up on
as
the
big
rack.
of a ripoff as the hospital.
Let's go red. Look at this. Red to match Slick's. What do you think of that?
Oh, that's
Oh, that looks nice.
great.
To match Slick's outfit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dark,
that's good.
You're
Right?
going Dark
I like
Brandon.
Yeah, we'll go dark Brandon tonight. We'll go with the red
Red. It's the right
Where can I
color.
plug
guy.
into the chat?
to match February. Let's see here. Who's in the chat? Oh, God, I got to go way down here. Thoughts on the Her testimony? Well, John Solomon's going to join us once we get on the network. He's going to join us at 10 after 9. And we'll keep Mr. Solomon for a little bit. And I know he has to do Hannity tonight, so he's going to join us before that to talk about the Her testimony. But it's outrageous,
Yeah.
the Her testimony. I mean, absolutely outrageous that this guy, again, sits there and just makes the case for every single thing, every violation of the Espionage Act possible, and then acts as if it's his
His call.
his call to get into the state of mind of what the jury might think.
Yeah, and some of the media is saying that Robert Hur had a victory today, but Raheem Kassam pointed out something really interesting that and the Republicans didn't bring it today. Only a few of them did, and they probably some missed opportunities to get some gotcha moments.
It was like 5 hours. I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw kind of lived it in clips that I saw on social media. But the one guy I did see, Kelly Armstrong.
Yeah, he was good.
He was very effective today. I thought he was really excellent. And then I find out I think he's a former federal prosecutor. I think he was either a former federal prosecutor or something. I mean, those are the kind of guys you need asking these questions.
But he put him on the spot. He had 7 places, right, that Biden was putting these documents, and Armstrong, called out her on that at least, right? But her whole argument is that Biden, didn't intend to do this, and he did it just to.
I mean, he absolutely made the
get
case.
A book deal.
Yeah, he made the case for intent over and over and over again. To say he didn't intend to, Stevie Wonder could have seen today that the intent was there.
Yeah, and intent isn't even something you bother with. When you break the law, they don't care. They don't care that you didn't intend to kill 27 people. You only intended to kill 26. So because the intent wasn't there for that 27th, we're not going to charge you with it. No, you get charged. The intent doesn't really play a factor in most of this.
I have a theory, Rick.
Do you?
I do.
Bring it.
And
you've been hanging out with Delgado way too much.
No, listen, we all know
what happens when you spend too much time in a hospital.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, well, you should get your head examined. That's why you took by the hospital.
I had that done too while I was in there. But I got to tell you, we all know the answer to this already, and we've been saying it, so it's not a surprise. But the raid on Mar-a-Lago was to get ahead of this because they knew this was coming down the pike. That's, what I think right from the get-go this was all about, right?
Yeah, I think the raid on Mar-a-Lago was they were looking for something else that they didn't find it. There was other I think it was I want to say a binder or something that they were searching for.
Yeah,
I heard.
But they never would have done this against the president.
They could not find it.
They never would have done this against a former president if the Biden thing wasn't looming. And, I mean, isn't it obvious to everybody that this whole thing with Robert Hur is really a seed planted to get rid of Biden off the stage, right?
Yep. It's an Obama hit job. That's basically what it is. Everybody's like, oh, well, this is Trump's person trying to use Trump's prosecutor to get Biden. No, because if that were the case, he probably would have tried to indict him. No, it was just to get the information out there that Joe is senile, that he's got dementia, that he was doing things that he shouldn't have been doing, and we need to weaken him to get him out because his ego won't let him walk away from the office, and we got to get him out because he's killing the party.
And Kash Patel accused Robert Hur of destroying evidence, and it should be a federal criminal offense. So there's a lot going on. So many stories today, right?
I mean, the Hur stuff was just, it was really just unbelievable. Some of the Democrats that tried to get by, especially who was it, Jayapal there at the end?
Yeah, she's horrible.
She said, "So you exonerated him," and he was like, "Yeah, no, I didn't."
Right?
Yeah, no, I didn't. As a matter of fact,
yeah, there was no exoneration.
I mean, on the intent thing, when you have a recording of the guy telling his ghostwriter, "Oh, I just came across all the classified stuff there over there it's down in the corner. If you want it," I think the intent of violating the act is pretty well set at that point.
Right.
And that was an $8 million book deal he was hoping for, right?
Yeah.
And again, you can't get over that first hurdle of you shouldn't have had that stuff to begin with. Shouldn't have had it. How did he get a hold of it? How did he squirrel it away? How did he end up with so many boxes of classified material? It's not like who was the guy who stuck it in his sock? From the Clintons, right? Yeah. He took a couple pages, he stuck it down his pants.
Yeah, Clinton had the recordings in his socks. Yeah.
Right. No. But there was who was the guy who?
Oh, you're talking about Sandy.
Yes.
Yeah. Sandy Burglar.
Sandy Burglar. Right. He went in there. He took something stuffed it in his sock
from the
to take it out
archives.
of there, right? To try and squirrel it away, and they busted him. He had to be wearing huge socks to try and get all that
$8
stuff.
$8 million. How is Fannie Willis worth $8 million? Isn't that the question of the day?
Her brilliance, probably.
Yeah.
Jayapal's from my state. She's an idiot.
Site, only fans.
Says
you know that.
Yvonne. She's from your state. I'm sorry to hear that. Rhino Ken Buck of Colorado is done in a week. He is such a head case. Can't even wait until November. Unbelievable, not surprising. Yeah, from Colorado. I saw someone's tweet today that Speaker Johnson and the other Republican leaders didn't even realize the guy was going to be gone in a week.
I think he let everybody believe that he was going to wait. And then he just said, you know what? I think I'm out. And it begs the question, what is he running away from? I mean, if there was nothing to worry, if there was something, oh my goodness, I've got this opportunity, I've got to leave Congress to do, you do it. And you announce it. And you make a big deal out of it because you're a sitting member of Congress. You're in the House. For him to just be like, yeah, I'm out of here in a week. See ya. What are you running away from? there, Mr. Buck? Something coming out
He's trying
that
to
you don't want to
foil
know about?
Lauren Boebert's race. He's trying to foil a couple of Republican things in Colorado.
Kyle just said that in the chat. He said he's trying to screw Boebert, which doesn't sound great because she's had some issues with stuff like that
Yeah.
in the news lately. But I get your point.
Damon, if I could just get back to you asked me why I was out. I just wanted to share with the audience. I've had diabetes for 20 years, and it's type 2. And it's the silent killer. When you have type 1, it's very serious too, in a different way. And when you're type 2, you don't know you have it, and until it's late, and I've had it for a real long time, and it's been a battle. And I can only emphasize that, you have to go to the gym, and you have to cut out your carbs, and you have to, address this stuff, because people start to get infections and they start to lose limbs. And it's a bad thing, and it's in my family. My father died at 54. He was skinny. He didn't drink. He didn't smoke. He ate okay, but back then it was hamburgers and no medicine, So, it's very serious. And I would just give a warning to the audience that, make sure you don't take things for granted and your diet and everything. And, for me, I'm late in the game. I've had it for 20 years, so it's very hard to control.
Now, have you ever looked at what your body might be? Has any doctor ever talked to you about what your body might be missing as far as your insulin production?
Yeah, because
instead of just medicating the problem, which is what we always try to do.
Well, it's a combination, and I would tell you that I think Ozempic should be illegal unless you have diabetes. Because it's needed medicine for people. Mounjaro, which I'm on, is a lifesaver. I've had diabetes for 20 years. I've not been able to keep my blood sugars in check no matter what I do. I'm at the gym half the year. I'm all over the place. I'm a vegetarian basically, except for a little red meat and chicken and fish. And, it's when you're type 2 diabetic, your red blood cells the insulin you still make insulin, unlike type 1. The insulin doesn't penetrate your red blood cells, and you wound up urinating it out with the sugars without your red blood cells walls being penetrated by the insulin to treat the sugar. And that's why people with diabetes die from kidney disease. And that's why you have organ failure, and that's why they go blind. And it's a very complicated thing when you're type 2. It's almost worse than type 1 in some ways, because type 1, I got to take insulin. With the type 2, very, very hard to change the dynamics, especially as you get older. It's pancreatic related. The pancreas not only absorbs the food into your bloodstream, but it also creates insulin. There are some technologies now you can create in your islet cells. They could take out your pancreas, put them in your liver and stuff, but we're a ways away from that. But people have the tail of their pancreas gets inflamed and abscessed and leads to pancreatitis and calcification and chronic pancreatitis, and you can die. So there's a lot of things related to diabetes, and the pancreas is the hardest organ in your body to work on. And, it's 6 inches long, and it's like a sponge, and you can't really do much with it when things go awry. So,
you ever listen to Gary Brecka?
I know the name. I don't know who that is, though.
He's a human biologist, and he's gained a lot of popularity because he's worked with people like Dana White, and he's got this podcast called The Ultimate Human Podcast. And, there's people out there who will tell you he's a snake oil salesman. I mean, I don't really know. I just listen to him and try to take my own judgments. He seems pretty smart to me. He's a human biologist, and what he did before he got into the world he's in now of helping people or treating people, he used to work at a life insurance.
Yeah.
So he said, there's nobody who has better information on all of us than these life insurance policies.
Sure,
because if they're going to put a couple $1 million on, they want to know, like the day you're going to die, they want to know what it is, and they've got their ways to try to figure it out. So that's the background he came from.
Numbers.
And one of the things, and again, I listen to him. I don't make any judgments either way on, whatever. But one of the things I find compelling when I listen to him is when he talks about things like thyroid problems or liver problems or high blood pressure or these things. He always says that, modern medicine, the way it is, we just decide what the problem is, and we start treating it like the thyroid. We just start immediately start on a dosage of something that all you're going to do over the time that you're on that is just increase your dosage, because your thyroid's only responsible for like 10% of what the actual problem is. So you're blaming something for a crime it didn't commit, he keeps saying. And there's something else in the body that's affecting it. So he's a big, first of all, on taking these DNA tests.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever thought about taking one to see what your body is deficient in when it comes to all of these things, insulin included.
I've had every test under the sun.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's a big proponent of doing a DNA test at least once in your life and seeing what your body's missing, and then start
predispositions.
And then start. Like he talks big time about methylated vitamins. Like, and stop taking regular vitamins; they're useless. Start taking a methylated vitamin because if your body can't methylate what you're taking and can't, then you need to start substituting for the things you're missing.
The biggest problem with diabetes, everyone says, "Oh, you just change your diet and you can get rid of it." You can't. You can, if you're pre-diabetic, you can prevent it and delay it if it's in your line, But what happens is diabetes kills off your microvascular system, and it kills the blood vessels to your heart. And when you get neuropathy, which is your nerves start to die from diabetes in your feet and in your extremities, and once that goes, it never comes back. There's no cure for neuropathy. You can treat it, you can help it, you can alleviate it with gabapentin and a few other things, but you can't cure it.
No.
And what happens is once you get an infection, and when you're diabetic, you start to get cracks in your feet. And those feet, you can never walk barefoot again in your life. You can't be barefoot because you're susceptible to pathogens and for MRSA and infections to set in, and they spread, and you can get chronic or acute osteomyelitis, which is an infection in the bone. And once that happens, you have to go in, and they have to either take your metatarsals out and slowly hack you up to your knee or whatever over time. It's very, very hard to do once you're in that mode. And listen, in New York City, 1 in 8 black people have diabetes, adults.
Prevalent.
But, that's also, there's diet related, there's all kinds of stuff. Yeah. But there's no magic bullet. And it's just like once you have it, you have to, it's a complicated regimen of diet. It's a complicated regimen of getting some cardiovascular work out and exercising. But it's also management. And I think Mounjaro is a miracle drug because my A1Cs were between 6 and 13, which is 13% of my blood was sugar. Even if I wasn't having any sugar for a year, and at the gym every day, every other day, which I've done for a long time, and the thing with the Mounjaro is it's
Don't
changed.
you go to the same place Delgado goes to?
He does.
Yeah, I do.
So you see him over there. What's he normally doing at the gym?
He's working hard.
He's making a flexible payment for his gym dues.
What's your routine at the gym, Delgado?
Working hard.
Neck exercises.
He's always working.
Pretty much.
I always see him.
Yeah, I was going to say that, definitely.
I always see him lifting
Neck
weights.
exercise.
Delgado. Bing, 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 bing.
Left and right. Left and right.
Up, down. Hey, come over here.
Yeah.
Watching the squats. I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but I always see him there, and I haven't been there. I've only been there about maybe 20 times this year so far because of challenges that I've had, and I've been on the road a lot for Rav. So,
hey, you're a road warrior.
I'm trying to.
I always know when David's there because I hear somebody singing at the on the rowing machine, and it's usually David.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He's got his music loud and in his ear, and he's singing along.
He
And
does.
What are you normally belting out at the gym?
Row, you Delgado. Yeah. He's on the rowing machine.
I'm watching Thomas the Tank Engine on my phone.
Sickness.
No, but I watched the War Room there. I was doing 6 to 9 miles a day on the rower last year. And,
You're watching War Room?
I watch the War Room. I try to prep for the shows. I'm always in Rav mode and trying to, figure out what's
I thought you'd be
going on.
singing Frank Sinatra or something.
Yeah.
No?
No.
What do you listen to at the gym? Seriously, that's what you listen to?
I listen to the War Room, yeah.
Really? You don't listen to music?
I don't.
No.
I listen to Van Halen. I listen to Van Halen.
All right, so at a minute before 9, we're going to go to black here or go to the slate in silence, and then we're going to join the network at 9. Fran, does it look like we're actually joining at 9? Is that thing, are they rapping? Can you tell in the master?
Yeah, they have a commercial break coming up in
okay.
less than a minute and a half.
Okay. All right. Well, we didn't get to many questions here from the audience or comments, but that's fine.
Well, we got to do one of our live streams. We haven't done that in a while, where we did like on a Sunday night or whatever.
Well, we did. That was a Twitter space where people could actually talk to us. That was pretty cool.
That was cool.
So maybe we'll have to do another one of those.
Do it in a
Now, do we do a? Can you do a Twitter space with video or no? It's just audio.
Oh, just audio, right? Yeah.
Twitter space with just audio. Yes, Twitter Spaces is just audio.
I like when we could do it video in the living room over there.
You know, over there.
Over there.
With the living room over there.
With a little bourbon.
All right, we got a couple minutes.
Stony
Let's
Brook
see.
is coming back. Come on.
What have I missed here in the chat? A lot. War Room will jack you up, David says.
Right.
Kathy, what's up, guys? Hello, Kathy. Thanks for watching. We're back on Facebook. We're going to stream more. Good watching you guys rock the real McCoy, Chuck McCoy.
Real McCoy.
We enjoy your banter, Victoria, from Facebook. Good to see everybody. John Solomon's going to join us at around 10 after 9 until about 9:27. Obviously, we'll do some news and Slick. Allison Johnson, hello there. Nice to see you on Facebook. Janine, you guys are great. Prayers for David Zier. A lot of prayers for David Zier in the chat.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry to hog the time up, but I thought, you guys should know why I wasn't here for 5 days. And, back in action.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we were enjoying it.
He was.
Did you see, David,
That's what my wife said.
Did you see that we were Chris Hayes?
I'm not going to stop.
Did you see Chris Hayes use a clip of the show?
For you.
I did. I was hysterical. And I thought it was, you know what? It was so natural. All I saw was this, and I'm like, oh my God,
Honestly, it was so late. It was so late by the time she got done. I didn't even think about who could still be watching at the time. Nevertheless,
I was exhausted.
I thought it was the worst Republican response in my 50 years of following what's going on.
And honestly, that was a genuine reaction, and I wouldn't change it because that's how I felt. I couldn't believe it.
You were right. You were right.
Let's see. My favorite nightly show, says Ashley. Thank you very much. All right, we got 2 minutes to air, so we're going to...
powder our noses.
All right, let's go to Slate, Aaron. We're going to keep the streams going for the real show on the socials as well, so don't go anywhere if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or I don't know if we're back on Twitter. I tried to restart it on Twitter. And Instagram, we're not sure we're even there, but we're going to keep it live here for the next hour. So, all right, Aaron, take us to Slate. Fran, kill the mics. We'll be back in 90 seconds live on RAV. live from Studio 6B, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. Real America's Voice. Glad you're in. Jam-packed hour. We're going to try to get in as much stuff as possible. John Solomon is going to join us here at about 10 minutes after 9. Mr. Solomon's going to give us a few moments to talk about what we saw today at the hearing with the former special counsel Robert Hur on this Biden. We'll get into it with John, but just what we heard today is just absolutely outrageous. And we'll get into all of what we heard today, all the lies the White House has been telling us over the last few weeks, and there you go, it's all done, no problems here. Well, that's not quite what we heard today. So we'll get into all that. We'll do sports with Slick. Slick, how are you?
Doing good tonight, Big D.
Looking good in the red. I think that's a February-looking kind of month in that calendar. Looking good.
Red's the best color.
March.
There you go. Rick Delgado's going to do some news. Mr. Delgado, how are you?
I am good. Had an interesting day today.
Okay. Anything you want to expound on there?
I don't know. I came to the rescue of my neighbor.
Really? Was he choking?
Nope. She fell and she couldn't get up.
Really?
Yes.
How old is she?
She's probably about 80.
Oh, well, that's very nice of you. You ran over there and saw it, and
Well, it came out of the house and she
used
was
your muscles.
She was tanked out on the driveway.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. So Connor and I ran over. We picked her up. We got her back into her home. Got her safe and secure.
You know, I'm going to be honest. I have a neighbor that did the same thing. Sometimes I get home at night and there's all the sirens going, and of course I always think it's my house. But then I realized it was the neighbor, and he's about the same. And sometimes he's on face down in the driveway or whatever.
Yeah,
the same thing.
It was unnerving. I kind of walked out, didn't expect it. Just kind of, because the way the house situated with the driveways next to each other, there's a step, like a 4-foot gap, height difference. And always come out, I see the driveway and it's empty. Today I see the walker just sitting there by itself. I'm like, that's weird. Why is that there? And then I look around the bush. And she's there, laying down. She can't reach her phone. She dropped her. She must have been terrified. I felt terrible for her, but we jumped in, got her back into her house,
good
safe and sound.
Yep, good for you guys.
And made sure she can contact who she needs to contact.
Very good. David Zier's here. David Zier back after a little time off. Mrs. Zier, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. So many things going on. Now the real race is on. We got to watch the Electoral College from this point on. Big variables coming in 2024. Will Biden be replaced? Is there a third-party run? Who will it benefit? Is it no labels? Will it benefit Biden or Trump? Depending on who's in there. And the truth is coming out about J6 being a setup. Trump asked for increased security, right? Didn't get it. It's proven. The fake bomb nonsense going on. The Biden doc scandal. The invasion is planned of the United States to put illegals here to change the Electoral College and the census numbers, going forward. I believe that firmly. And just a lot going on. It's an exciting night for the Trump campaign because he clinched it, right?
Yep. Does he have the number now?
Well, I saw Mississippi was in. Washington's coming.
Mississippi is in. He's clinched that. I think Hawaii doesn't come in until later, so we won't know about that later.
Yeah.
Nothing official on Georgia just yet, but I mean,
So great coverage, by the way, by Rav. Obviously, John Fredericks, Carolyn Ryan, Don and Donna from Cowboy Logic. The one thing I did hear as we were getting ready in the studio was that the turnout was obviously was pretty low, 800,000 as opposed to 2 million last time. Is that what I heard Carolyn say? She was interviewing.
Yeah, Carolyn was saying only 400,000 early votes came in, and Haley got 14, I think, % of the vote tonight, but nothing unexpected there, just low turnout. But the big news in the media when I was driving over to the studio tonight was Biden clinches the Democratic presidential nomination. I was like,
well, now it's official. Yeah, Trump and Biden win Georgia primary as president secures nomination. So there you have it.
Okay, there you go. So the rematch is official. At least until you guys saying until the convention.
Till the convention when he's removed.
Yep.
Steps down. However they want to do it. However they're going to set it up that he can save face, step away gracefully.
They
right?
Not run it. They cannot run that thing.
Yeah, because they can't. Especially after what came out with Robert Hur today. I mean, it's just a disaster. He's a walking disaster waiting to happen. They're going to usher him out. I think they're going to hold some. I think they've got something. They're going to be like, "Hey, Joe, We have this. We're gonna release this.
Yeah.
Biden, Obama's gonna go. We're gonna release this, Joe. You want to step away?
No.
And he's gonna have to really consider.
Now, Joe,
if you don't
Joe,
step away,
Joe.
we're gonna unleash this. We're not, and we can't save you. But if you step away, we'll protect you. We'll make sure you get. We'll pardon you all your crimes. You'll be out the door. You and Hunter can go smoke crack all you like. Dr. Jill can walk around and whatever doilies she wants to wear, she'll be able to do that.
The new president who replaces him?
I don't think
Or is he
so.
going to pardon himself before he leaves?
No, Kamala, because she's gonna have to fulfill the rest of the term, and then of course.
Okay.
Because she won't get the delegates. They will not give her the delegates.
No way.
They need somebody who can actually form a sentence.
Now, John Solomon's going to join us here in a few moments.
And I hope he's got his. I hope he's got his.
Once again, I'll run this scenario by him that you two, and I guess you three really, because Zira, you're really on board with these nuts, aren't you?
I think the whole thing is a setup. I think Her's report would not have allowed to been released the way it was unless they were planning on asking Biden to step down.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, you're on board with these nuts. So
And they're gonna gift them the delegates to whoever they decide is going to be that person. They can't be it can't be Newsom because he's a white guy. You can't replace him because with a white guy because you got the black lady who's the vice president, and if she's not going to get it, you got to find somebody else. Who is that? Oh, I don't know. Big Mike comes to mind, but who knows? It's just a theory. I don't know for sure.
okay.
But, let's face it. And she says she doesn't want to run for president. Michelle Obama says she doesn't want to run.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't want to do it. And she won't have to do it because it'll be gifted to her.
Okay.
That's how they get around it.
All right. Well, let's do some sports. We'll change it up a little because Mr. Solomon's going to take a little bit of the first hour with us when he joins us here in a couple moments. So let's do some sports right now. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell, and I know our own Stony Brook firm.
Yes, I'm
right
on top of it. Big D. Selection Sunday. This Sunday is Selection Sunday.
And they may be in automatically as of tonight.
Right now, they're tied at 73 with Charleston. It's the CAA championship final. And you're going to OT. You're right, Rick.
Oh,
Here
my
we
God,
go,
they're going
baby.
to overtime.
And they came back. They were down by 10. They came roaring back. They were down.
Wow.
It was like 64-53.
Stony Brook University here on Long Island has had a rough basketball season, but they have hit their stride at the right time. Yeah. They have gone 4-0 in the tournament. And if you win their tournament, if they win tonight, gets an automatic bid, I believe.
Yeah.
And they were 10.5-point dogs going into this game. It's down in D.C., Big D. A couple other ones going
Charleston,
on.
Yep.
Yeah, UCF, Oklahoma State, 77-62. Right now, UCF leading that one. That was the final. That's in the books already. That's the Phillips 66 Big 12 championship. And we also have Georgia Tech fell to Notre Dame 84-80. That went final ACC tournament. We also have Cincinnati over West Virginia 90-85.
Fran, John says he's ready, so let's punch him up. Yep. No, go ahead. I'm just telling him to connect with him.
NC State 94-85 over Louisville. Oakland over Milwaukee 83-76. Wagner down Merrimack 54-47. And Boston College 81-65 over Miami earlier tonight. We have a 9:30 tip-off, Denver and South Dakota State. That's the Summit League Championship. So getting another chance before the show was over. Big deal. I'll let you know how Stony Brook did. But they're heading to OT, so we'll see what happens there. And, one big story I want to get to from earlier today, obviously, and RFK Jr. considering Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers and ex-WWE star Jesse the Body Ventura as running mates. What do you think about that, Big D? This is Samuel Chamberlain and Ryan King of New York Post. The independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. claimed Tuesday that New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers and ex-pro wrestler and former Minnesota governor Jesse Ventura are among his preferred running mates. Kennedy, 70, told the New York Times that Rodgers and Ventura were at the top of his list to join the 2024 ticket, while two sources told the paper the men had welcomed the candidates' approaches. Yes, Mr. Kennedy did share with the New York Times that he's considering Aaron Rodgers and Jesse Ventura as running mates, along with others on a short list, a campaign rep told the Post Tuesday evening, without elaborating. So, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. All right, we'll do some more sports, but please welcome right now to Live from Studio 6B, live from Washington, D.C., of course, our good old friend, Mr. John Solomon. Mr. Solomon, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I am well. How about that? Aaron Rodgers, vice president. Maybe we won't have as many fumbles as Kamala Harris, but I don't know. We'll see.
Boy,
We'll see where that goes.
His old team has been making some moves now that they don't have his big salary. They just they just took what's his name there from the Raiders, a running back. So they're making some moves.
Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs, exactly.
That's right.
So speaking of moves, there was a lot of moving and grooving going on today at this hearing, the special counsel, and it's hard to watch these things and not have some kind of James Comey and flashbacks of, well, no reasonable prosecutor when they make the case for every violation of the Espionage Act, which they did today with Joe Biden, not only as a senator, not only as vice president, as a private citizen. And if people didn't get to watch it, it's basically this. He violated everything he could possibly violate. He did everything worse than Trump. He held him longer. He held him in worse places. But because his last name's not Trump, he's basically not getting prosecuted. What was your takeaway?
Yeah, listen, I think a lot of people will walk away with that exact assessment. I do think the way the media covered today, that there's going to be a significant damaging of President Biden in average Americans' minds who aren't as versed in the details as we are, but they hear things like today that Robert Hur thought that the president lied when he said, I didn't share classified information, that he did he did both the retention of the documents and the sharing of the classified information willfully. Those are words that sink in even when you're busy trying to run between your 3 jobs because you're trying to afford Biden inflation, or you're taking the kids to soccer practice and get home and cooking dinner. A lot of things don't seep through in the complicated stories of Washington. I think Robert Hur, even though most people who are versed in the details will say, there's no why didn't he prosecute Joe Biden? Why is Donald Trump being prosecuted? Not. I think people who don't have that level of detail are still going to hear things like willful, lying, this destruction of evidence, and they're going to say, this guy Joe Biden, he just keeps racking up more and more concerns for me. First it was Afghanistan, then it's the border, then it's the economy, and now I'm hearing things like willful and obstruction and lying, and I don't like the guy. And I do think that it's we don't want to underestimate that average people might have taken a very negative portrait of Joe Biden from today's hearings, whatever filtered them, in part because the media actually kind of covered it with some of the harshness that Robert Hur was trying to convey. Now, the dual system of justice is alive and well, and if ever we needed an example, today provided us a fresh example. We can go to Russia collusion and all the other ones that we talk about, but the dual system of justice is alive and well, and Robert Hur affirmed it today. He had a very hard time describing why he would let Joe Biden off the hook, other than maybe the truth, which is in D.C. and Delaware, the only 2 places they could have brought these charges, a Democrat jury pool won't convict Joe Biden. I think that's one of the things that we're dealing with in our country right now. You could put Donald Trump in D.C., he's going to get convicted 100 out of 100 times. You put Joe Biden, he's probably not going to get convicted 1 out of 100 times. It's something we're learning that is a new reality in our court system. We used to put blinders on, and now we don't.
Yeah, but you know the thing, John, about that, and I hear what you're saying, and I remember Victor Davis Hanson saying this early on, a month or so ago. He brought up in one of his reports, he said, what job is it of Robert Hur to think that he needs to get into the mind of a possible juror and tell us pre all of this, say, well, I know what they're going to think. Well, that's not his. It's not his job's not to get in there. And as a matter of fact, today, Kevin Kiley, Representative Kiley, said to the
could a reasonable juror
a reasonable juror could have voted to convict based on the facts, and he said correct. So he says correct, and you go, well, then what are we doing here?
Yeah. Well, listen, I've said this for a long time, and it's something that people don't want to hear, but it's true. Prosecutors are very political, and prosecutors who leave the Justice Department and go to the FBI, like James Comey, become even more political. And Andrew Weissman and other prosecutors who move between the FBI. The FBI probably should not be drawing from its ranks lawyers from the Justice Department. These are political prosecutors. They make political decisions all day, whether we like to believe it or not. We say Lady Justice is blind, but Lady Justice wears a pair of shades that have some politics in them. And I think one of the truisms is no prosecutor wants to bring the case of the century, a case against a sitting president or a future or past president, with the possibility that they might lose. And I think that is really what Robert Hur was saying in all of his justice speak today. I wasn't going to be the guy that indicted Joe Biden and lost in the District of Columbia. And, John Durham found this the hard way. Just think about the evidence that John Durham brought forth in the 2 cases he brought in D.C., only to see a jury acquit him. There was not any doubt that lying was going on. In fact, one of the jurors said, oh, yeah, they lied. I just don't think it was worth prosecuting someone over Trump. And I think that that is a reality that these prosecutors, it's not the right thing, but I think we have to be honest about it and man up and say, hey, that's the reality. These prosecutors don't want to lose, so they just punt the ball. And as a result, this system of dual justice gets a little more wider, a little more perverse every day.
You know, Matt Gaetz at one point today took the tact of saying, I don't necessarily quibble with the idea that he said, I think probably neither guy should have been prosecuted.
Right.
But since you've prosecuted one, which that's what makes it so much harder to swallow when we look at the facts here on this one. And one of the most effective questionings for me today was Congressman Kelly Armstrong. And I think his quote just nailed it. He said, all of these cases have the same underlying elements of the crime, the same fact patterns, and yet we only see one person being prosecuted. And that's really the issue.
Yeah. And I think Kelly Armstrong missed one very important thing. There's one different fact pattern that is more serious for Joe Biden. He knowingly and willfully gave classified information to his ghostwriter. We don't have any evidence that President Trump did. There's an allegation that he mentioned, I can't give this to you because it's classified. But in Joe Biden's case, her concluded that Joe Biden not only kept it and stored it in a bad place and violated all the rules and laws for the security, he actually gave his ghostwriter the information. And I think another important moment was they also had a motive for this crime. This is something that's very important. In the questioning from Jim Jordan, Jim Jordan got Robert Hur to admit that Joe Biden had 8 million reasons to keep this information. And that was the $8 million advance or book payment he was going to get for the book. And that's why he wanted his ghostwriter to have his best stuff. We have motive. We have a more serious crime of not only giving the information, but distributing it. And then everything else is pretty much, there's all little differences here and there. And Donald Trump faces 40 felonies and Joe Biden faces none. I think most people, that leaves a bitter taste in our mouths. We don't feel like that's America.
Before Rick Delgado's got a question for you. I didn't hear this question today, but and I don't know that he would have answered it, but did you hear anybody say, if we're making the case that he's too fragile and his memory's too bad to stand trial, then how is he qualified to be or run again for president?
Yeah, I think there were versions of this. By the way, many members made the statement, just affirmatively made the statement. I think there was 1 or 2 efforts to kind of ask the question in a polite way to see if he would bend. And he's basically, I'm sticking to the report. I'm not going to make conjecture. I'm just sticking to the report. And I think that that's how things went. I thought another very important question is, I wonder whether Robert Hur himself put the whole analysis in his report about Donald Trump, because, by the way, that's not in the scope of his thing, right? He was supposed to invest. So who put all this stuff in the report about Donald Trump is so much different, Donald Trump's so much worse? Did he originally do that, or did the report get kicked back to him from the Justice Department do that? I would have liked to see someone ask that question. I think that's a very important one that we didn't know today. But Robert Hur kept telling us, I can't talk about things that weren't in the scope. Donald Trump wasn't in the scope of this. Why does he show up in the report? One thing he did confirm, the White House did actually demand the Justice Department change the report. To Merrick Garland's credit, he did not. But the White House was trying to apply political pressure to tamper with a final product of the Justice Department. That should trouble us, along with the fact that Joe Biden lied, shared classified information, and kept classified information. But this is a White House that has not told us the truth about Hunter Biden, the laptop, the meetings with the business partners, the China money, and now several things related to this classified document.
And, of course, the other concerning thing is the President of the United States is, in 5 hours, I guess around 5 hours of testimony, said to the special counsel, I don't remember, could not recall, about 150 times.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's 104, 105.
Yeah, I mean, that's
it's really troubling. And again, I don't recall. My car goes burr.
My Corvette goes burr, he said in there.
Yeah, when, like
he always has,
when it gets cold.
He always has these awkward moments. You've seen him with children. You've seen him with women. The guy has a lot of awkward moments. I think the more troubling one of all of the I don't know defense is one of the most famous lawyers today. If you don't know, don't answer. Just say, I don't know. And Joe Biden did a good job of I don't knowing his way through it. I do think when he can't remember what year Donald Trump was elected, when he can't remember what year his son was elected, he can't remember why he took the documents, who handled them, why they're in 6 places in his home and other offices, that is very troubling because those are core facts that aren't, oh, I'm busy and I forgot about it. Those are at the heart of his life story, his political story. And I think those sort of are part of the reason why Robert Hur kind of alerted the America. I think this guy's senile. I didn't say senile, but he might as well, because that's the inference most Americans took from the report when it came out last month.
Yeah. Hey, John, big fan, first time, long time. Quick question here.
Sure.
Because you mentioned there's one big difference between the Biden and Trump documents case, why Trump's being prosecuted and Biden isn't. But I think there are two, actually. And that's one, the one big one for me that always stands out is at no time as a senator or vice president, whether he remembers when he was or not, he didn't have the authority to have those documents, to take them, to squirrel them away. And I feel like that one gets lost in this whole glob of, I was being helpful and I was doing this and he was trying to hide him and they had to raid him and, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, I think that's going to be one of the issues that are going to get litigated. First, they got to get through immunity. And then when the Supreme Court rules on immunity, this idea, remember that in 2012 or 2013, I can't remember the year now, in a case brought by Judicial Watch, the federal judge in Washington, D.C. concluded that a president has basically an unchallengeable right to determine what are his personal papers, regardless of whether they're classified or not. We also know the executive order that George W. Bush and Obama both implemented, which, by the way, is still the standing executive order now, says a president does not have to follow the norma declassification rules that every other president does. Those issues have not yet been litigated in the Florida case. And I think that those, depending where the Supreme Court comes down on immunity, that the current legal precedent is, I think, from Judge Beryl Howell, if I remember correctly, and it basically says Bill Clinton could have taken anything you want and called it his personal papers, and that's his prerogative. Well, Donald Trump's going to try to make that argument. Probably not yet, because you got to get through the immunity claims. But that is a very big difference. By the way, the vice president does not have that same capability, and certainly a United States senator doesn't have that capability. So that is still to be litigated. I agree. That's going to be a big appeals issue, even before the trials start. But I think in the motive, and there are two things that are missing. There's no real motive that the prosecutors made why Donald Trump kept his documents. Joe Biden has a motive. He was trying to make $8 million on a book. There's a second thing. There's no evidence that, at least to date, that Donald Trump shared classified information with people in an illegal way. There's clear evidence from Robert Hur today that Joe Biden did that. Those are big evidentiary factual differences. And then I think this legal issue about where the power stands to be litigated probably will come down on the side of Donald Trump.
John, great to see you. Always, you're everywhere. I have two quick questions for you. Raheem Kassam alluded earlier that members of the committee may have been discombobulated, unprepared. Were there any questions you would have asked besides the one you just discussed? And also, was Mar-a-Lago raided to preempt this because they knew this was coming down the pike?
It's a great question, right? I think we don't know the answer to that yet. We know that for most of the last several years, Democrats have created scandals on the Republican side to project their own sins on the Republicans so that they don't get caught. Hillary Clinton started the Russia collusion. This is in my book. It's such an important thing. I know a lot of people forget it because we get and move on to other scandals. But Hillary Clinton did a poll in late 2015, and I think it comes out in November, December. It's an internal poll. And it's of all the scandals in the Clinton family era, and by the way, there are a lot of them, right? There's Asia fundraising, there's Whitewater, there's Monica Lewinsky. But of all the email scandal, at the time she took the poll, she was certain that her email scandal was going to be the one that most threatened her ability to become president. And she found that was second in line. The one they were most concerned about was that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton had tried to cash in on Russia. The Clinton cash book had come out, and we heard about the $500,000 check from Moscow, the millions of dollars from the Russian Uranium One companies. And that was her biggest impediment to becoming president. Her own internal poll showed. I put that poll's public. You can actually see it in the book. Well, what does she do a few weeks later? The campaign starts out on an effort to create the alternative narrative and hang a Russia shingle on Donald Trump, which becomes Glenn Simpson and Christopher Steele. So that idea that they have sins and they project it on Republicans goes all the way back to Russia collusion. I think there's a real serious concern that hasn't been explored by Republicans yet, whether the effort to ramp up Donald Trump's prosecution was because they were getting nervous about what had been discovered or what was about to be discovered by Joe Biden. And I want to remind you of one very important thing that has happened. Remember the document I made public last year. The National Archives wrote in a document, it was the White House in the form of Joe Biden's counsel that instructed the National Archives to sic the FBI on Donald Trump. The sitting president told the National Archives, go get the FBI to start criminally investigating Donald Trump, the guy that they thought they might be facing in 2024. That theme, that evidence needs to be farther dug in than what we have right now. Important stuff. I think you're onto something, David.
Hey, John, I know you got a busy night, so I just got one quick thing from me that I want you to comment on, and that's the White House spokesman, Ian Sams, and what we've generally been hearing from the White House. Back on February 14th, he said, special counsel report was 400 pages long, meandering and confusing. That led to a lot of misreporting on its conclusions, namely that it found POTUS willfully retained classified documents. That's wrong, he said.
He did.
Doesn't look like that today.
No, listen, you're going to love my story that comes out in the morning. I go through, I connect Ian Sams to Christopher Steele. It's really fun because you know what? It's the same modus operandi. A Democratic narrative, then tax dollars. Remember, Ian Sams isn't some campaign guy. He's a White House employee that you and I pay a salary for. He used the power of the presidential podium, the power of the White House seal, the taxpayer money that supports his job to try to tell the media you have no right to report that Robert Hur said that that Joe Biden willfully kept and shared classified information. Now, we all had the right. It was in the introduction of the report. It said in plain as day. He spent 6 weeks trying to intimidate the White House Correspondents Association. To their credit, they objected a little bit, not as much as I would have objected. But I make Ian Sams, in fact, he's the lead photo of my story tomorrow. But Ian Sams is like the FBI. Ian Sams is like the 51 intelligence officers. Ian Sams is like the Congressional Committee January 6th. They all use taxpayer dollars in a democratic narrative to try to mislead and deceive the American people. And today, he got a dose of Robert Hur, which is, I'm sorry, Ian Sams, you are wrong.
Yeah. And by the way, John, I want you to know President Trump did not lunge to try to take the wheel.
He told me that last night.
Shocking.
You know, he called me last night on the show. He called in and he wanted to make really clear. And he said, those guys are big and strong. You think I would have taken them on? And I guess not, sir. And then he said, but right after it, he said, here's another problem, John. Unless I was Superman, there's a big metal and glass plate between the driver and me. Yeah. I didn't crash through it. I couldn't crash through it. I mean, Cassidy Hutchinson's story was so shamefully, obviously wrong from the beginning. And shame on the Democrats. Shame on Liz Cheney. By the way,
I mean, she needs to be under oath, Liz Cheney, by the way, just in front of somebody.
Let's see if the Republicans have the courage to do that. I don't think they do. Nancy Pelosi should be under oath for some of the unresolved questions of January 6th. But here's something very important. Liz Cheney is one of the few lawmakers that sat in the interview of the Secret Service driver who said Cassidy Hutchinson's story did not happen. She knew firsthand by sitting in the interview that what they were concluding, what they were propagating on the United States American people was false. And she stood there silent, just like her dad 20 years before when he tried to bamboozle us and tell us it was WMD in Iraq. The Cheney family legacy will be one of telling and misleading the American people about very consequential and painful moments in American history. Dad and daughter, not very different when you take a look at those two cases. And by the way, I covered both of those cases.
Yep, exactly. So I know you got to go. Thank you so much for your time. It's 1 against 3 here tonight. Joe Biden is going to be the nominee or no?
Yep.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you.
No,
very much.
that's not.
John's
That's not.
gotta go now.
He's gonna have the delegates. He's gonna step away, and he's gonna gift the delegates to somebody else. That's my theory, John.
All right, he's going to
Well,
delegate.
but who's he going to give him to? That's the thing. Kamala Harris, that's not going to work.
Michelle, say it with me.
yeah.
Say her name.
She doesn't want it.
Say her name.
Say her name. Oh my goodness. Michelle Obama does not want it. Listen, I think David Axelrod is telling you the truth on this one. He knows more about the Obamas than anyone. They'd love to have a proxy, and that's what they got in Joe Biden, right? They got to control Joe Biden the last 3 years with their staff. Michelle Obama doesn't want to be that person. And I think Gavin Newsom would be the natural person, but he's got a $68 billion problem in California. And by the way, what more fun election than to say, if you want California, elect this guy. Who wants California except people in California? In fact, people in California don't want it anymore. I think he's a tough one. I think Joe Biden is going to run unless he has the big one. If he has a bad medical episode, God forbid, then I think, all bets are up. But if he stays healthy, he's the nominee all the way to Election Day. I really believe that.
All right, John, I know you got a busy night. Thank you so much for giving us
guys.
the time. Have a great one. We'll see you again soon.
Great to be with
The great
you.
John
Bye-bye.
Solomon, Just the News. Tomorrow morning, Ian Sams will be the focus of Just the News, so we'll be looking forward to that. Great stuff, as always, from Mr. Solomon. What'd you think of that?
I thought he was awesome, but he's wrong on the last part.
I knew he was wrong. He's not wrong on the last part.
He's
No,
like,
he's not.
he's 99% there, Damon. He's 99% on, except for that
John
last
Solomon is a walking encyclopedia and has more integrity than any journalist in America. I am in Rick's camp on this. But,
All right, sons, I'll take these teams any day. Me and Solomon against you three weasels.
Oh yeah, we'll do a Rav open.
I'm more
Weasel
concerned
face.
about what
No, that's
tricks
not gonna
the
happen.
Dems have up their sleeves for a third-party candidate to foil everything. So I'm very worried about that.
Well, you know what? You've
Why
got.
do you think it's somebody outside of what Delgado's got cooked up here?
Well,
Obama or Newsom or
I don't think Biden makes it to run in November. I don't think this report would have been released by her if they didn't have that intention of asking him to step aside. But listen, one thing is John Solomon acts on the facts, and he knows what's going on, and nobody has a better finger on the pulse of what's going on, and he doesn't
which is
run
why
with
he
stuff.
agrees with me. Exactly.
He doesn't run with stuff unless he knows it's true.
Right.
And he's a journalist, and he has so much integrity. So it's
But
not,
he knows I'm onto something. You can tell by his smile. He was like, "Oh, geez." He's like, he's going to break the story before me. Damn it!
That is not definitely not.
You
true.
watch. He's
You
going
think he's worried about you getting on his?
Yes, he is going to guarantee he is going to blow off Hannity tonight. He's going to go and say, you know what, I better dig in on this Michelle Obama thing
That's
before
absurd.
anybody else.
I think that we've only scratched the surface on what we're going to face this year. And I think it's going to be a wild ride and maybe not a good one for hardworking Americans.
Look,
Okay,
look. John's already texting me. He's like, "Who's your
He's
source?"
not texting you.
He's saying, "Who's your source?" I can't tell him my source.
You don't he knows you don't have any
I can't
sources.
tell him I have sources. How do you think I know about RFK running independent?
My sources are from my
Honey
sources
mustard.
my sources are out of this world, John. If you know what I mean.
I don't know what you're talking
Buffalo Ranch. That's his sources.
about. Not sausage.
Wingding.
You guys are brutal.
My sources are out of this world, John. I'm going to
Otherworldly.
Exactly. I'm going to beat you to the story, don't you know? I'm sure that's
No,
exactly
not
what he's
all.
worried about.
And he texted me again. He's like, "Don't tell anybody." Sorry, man. You should have texted me that first.
Right.
He doesn't. He's not texting you.
He is.
And he's not worried that you're going to jump him on the story.
He's already worried.
He's with me on this, and he knows that for better or worse, this old fart is it for them.
Telling you.
I know what you're telling me, but it's just not going to happen.
It's okay. You don't have to believe it. What?
Well, how about let's make a bet then?
All right.
All right. How much?
I don't know. What do you got
Or
to
what?
lose?
Okay.
There we go.
The odds makers.
All right.
33 past the hour.
Let's go, Big D. What do you got? Come on.
Is it me against the three of you?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, come on. What do you want to bet?
Again, I'm going to stick with my original theory. My original theory is
How
he
about a
gets,
weekend of golf at the links now? Hey, we could do an open.
Yeah. we could do a weekend at Damon's house.
Oh, it's not a bad.
Is that like Weekend at
Let's see,
Bernie's?
the election is November.
Yeah.
When is this? When are we going to know if he's out, according to you?
At the DNC.
Which is what? The summer?
I think it's in August, yeah.
Yeah, right after the Republican
Right.
convention in July. I think that's the 15th. I just wanted to congratulate the USC girls basketball team for securing the SEC title. My daughter goes there. She loves the Gamecocks, and so
Boy, that was
congratulations.
That was a feisty one.
Yeah, it got hot.
And unfortunately,
Stony Brook lost by
They,
3.
Lost in overtime by
they
3.
didn't even come out for the overtime. They stayed on the bench. They didn't even come out for the OT.
Unbelievable.
tough loss. Tough
Yep.
loss.
That is a tough loss.
But a great step in their. That's only their second season in that conference.
Yeah.
They made the step up.
And they lost by 3. I mean, they did come back, but
they were the 7th seed.
yeah, they were 10-point dogs.
Yeah, they shouldn't have been there. They really put it all together.
And it was their fourth game in a row, fourth night in a row playing a game. So
Yeah.
kind of
Hard
tough,
luck.
and they still almost did it.
Yep.
Now, John did bring up the idea if something happens and it's oh Martha, it's the big one.
Yeah,
Then
Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you.
yeah, all bets are off. But short of that, he's not with you guys.
Okay, so okay, let's use his fantasy that
Fantasy?
it's not going to be Michelle
Talking about
Obama.
John Solomon here.
Right? Yes.
Right.
So
Just the news, no fantasies.
who would it be? Right, like who would the Democrats try to roll out at this point?
Booty
Marianne Williamson, Dean Phillips. I mean, who do they have? Seriously.
Maybe they go to RFK and say,
Bench is
okay, now
weak.
come home.
I don't know if he would bother. I don't think he would.
I wanted to point out.
Plus, he's already on the independent ticket. You can't switch tickets.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot.
John Solomon, I was down in D.C. on J6 in the studio, and we had 3 teams in the field, at the Capitol, and we were all reporting. And after everything went down, we saw obvious signs, and I got reports from people I know that were there outside of the media, and that a lot was going down, and a lot of stuff didn't look right, and but we wanted to run with it and just say, this is an inside job, this is Antifa, and this is that, and everything. But I remember, John Solomon, I was talking to him that day a little bit, but he was very careful. And slowly over time, this narrative is proven itself. And it's because of people like John that have credibility and can put it all together and doesn't just, and I'm conservative opinion, I like to bring facts to the table as well. But, John is probably the last of the breed of the true journalism. And, we all wanted to scream from the rooftops about everything. But I remember, that he was very measured. And it took a little bit for it to really come out and unfurl, but.
And unlike him, I'm out over my skis with my face in the wind saying, come get me.
Yes, you are.
Facts be damned. Who needs it? How do you even spell facts?
That's exactly right. So, Is there anything else in the news? I know David's got some news as well. Delgado, any news that you have brought to you by 7cells, 7cells.com. Use our code LFSXP at checkout. What else is going on?
Going back to the Joe Biden story and of course what went down today on Capitol Hill with Robert Hur. Joe Biden, this is the part that jumps out for me because this just says it all. Joe Biden forgot what a fax machine is and what it was called when interviewed by prosecutors over classified files. The transcript revealed. You know why he forgot what a fax machine is?
No.
Because he prefers the truth, Damon.
What does that mean?
We choose truth over facts.
Right. Truth over facts. He doesn't know what a fax machine is. He doesn't need it. He chooses truth.
Who uses
over
a fax machine still?
New documents revealed he also forgot the name of the federal agency that takes custody of official records called the National Archives. The transcript is the basis for an official report by the special counsel Robert Hur that described Mr. Biden as, and I'm quoting here, an elderly man with a poor memory, but did not recommend he be charged over the classified documents found in his garage and 6 other places. His original report found that Mr. Biden willfully retained troves of files, but Mr. Hur again declined to charge him with a crime and also claimed that Biden did not remember when he was vice president or the date of his son, Beau, when he died. And then, of course, there was this clip coming from Jim Jordan earlier today as well. This is Jim Jordan talking to Robert Hur about the White House and what they tried to have done. Cut number 3.
And did the White House get the report before the report was made public?
We did provide a draft of the report to the White House counsel's office and members of the president's personal counsel team for their review.
No, I understand. And did the White House then, once they got the report before it went public, did the White House try to weigh in with your investigation on elements of that report and, frankly, get the report changed?
They did request certain edits and changes to the draft report.
Yeah, so there you have it. And one final note, because, of course, now we're seeing from the transcript on what Joe Biden could not remember. Meanwhile, just the other day, I don't know if you saw this, Joe Scarborough, he was adamant about how mentally acute Joe Biden was. Cut number 4.
But comparing that guy's mental state, I've said it for years now, he's cogent. But I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been. Intellectually.
This was our LOL of the day.
Analytically, because he's been around for 50 years.
Look at these two guys.
And, I don't know if people know this or not, Biden used to be a hothead. Sometimes that Irishman would get in front of the reasoning. Sometimes he would say things he didn't want to say. This is... And I don't really, I don't really care. Start your tape right now because I'm about to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And F you if you can't handle the truth.
Oh, yeah.
This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years. The Brzezinskis have known him for 50 years.
Well,
if it weren't the truth, I wouldn't say it. And
what are you talking about? That's what you do all day, every morning. It's not the truth. What are you talking about?
I sat in the gallery of the 104th Congress while Newt took the gavel. I was 24 years old, and I can't believe I was in the same room as this bozo who was a Republican who voted for the contract with America. And this is who he is today.
Well,
I can't even watch it.
He failed as a congressman. He failed at talk radio. He failed at everything he's done.
Yep.
And he ended up on MSLSD.
There you go.
Jeez.
So, there you go.
Amazing stuff. One other story I did want to hit because I know this one will probably hit all of us close to home as New York City is going after pizza, Damon.
What?
Yeah.
New York City has quietly approved a controversial...
Everybody knows the rules.
Controversial green plan to require pizzerias and matzo bakeries using decades-old wood and coal-fired stoves to cut their smoky pollutants by 75%. Mayor Adams' Department of Environmental Protection said the fresh edict takes effect April 27th, with some city businesses already having coughed up more than $600,000 for smoke eating systems. One person groused, Mike Damon, in a recent online post, said, "You're going after pizza, glorious New York pizza. Can't you go after the diesel trucks instead of pizza ovens?" He wrote. Businesses with wood and artesite stoves can apply for a variance, but need evidence to prove they are unable to comply with the new mandate. Pizza lovers and some entrepreneurs went bonkers when the Post first reported that the proposed rule last summer, worried that the dough needed to comply with the measure would put these beloved spots out of business or at least affect the taste of their pizza.
This started 8 months ago. Scott Lebedo, famously the artist, the street artist, threw the pizza over the gates of City Hall. And they want to cut out 75% of the wood-burning emissions.
Yep.
I think it's unbelievable. By the way, Scott Lebedo's at Mar-a-Lago this week showing off his artwork down there with the America First warehouse. Very exciting week for Scott Lebedo. He's a very hard-working guy and a very brilliant guy.
So there you have it.
$73 a slice.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back, do a little more sports, some news with David Zier, see what else Delgado's got on a quick live from Studio 6B. We're back right after this. All right, we're still we're in commercial break, but we're live on socials.
Check your email.
Our socials. Now, somebody brought up in the while we were on air. What about you think this Clinton worms are way back in?
No, everybody hates her. They have no one to go to. When you stop and think about it, they really have no one to go to.
Yeah.
I mean, who could it be on a national level?
Michelle
that
Obama.
They think,
yeah, this is the last segment.
Well,
What's the what do I have to? What's the read tonight?
Done with debt.
Done with debt.
But I mean, seriously, who on a national level do you think would even give them a shot? Which would make it, believable that this person could be president.
I think it's just Newsom and Michelle. Really.
And Newsom is too much of a problem for his own self.
But he's a good-looking guy. He can lie through his teeth, and he'll brag about California. So even though it's in dire straits,
but everybody knows about California.
Yeah. But they also have, Silicon Valley, and they've got a lot of money, and they've got a lot. There's also another side to it too. Even though the policies suck over there, and people are leaving, but
there's the shirt of the month.
Hey, there it is. Whoa. Wow, that's a lot of fabric on that one.
That is.
That must be yours.
Oh, nice. Tab.
Oof.
Take America back.
Looks like a
sleeping
bath sheet.
Did you ever do the Fannie Willis one?
Robe.
What?
It's a robe.
Fannie Willis one?
What's that?
We only take cash.
Yeah, it's on there.
You did it?
Only Fannies is on there. The shirt's
Only
for sale.
Fannies. Come on.
I'll get you one if you want one.
Yeah.
Would love that.
Okay. Yeah, I have the Kayla Ard. Come on.
So that's the new Trump shirt. There's only one available because there's no more fabric left. So get your one copy today. What?
You're like a one-trick pony with your joke. 9,000 comedians out of work. I got to get this guy.
Believe me, I'm making less.
Now that's funny.
I'm still making less than they are.
You're on austerity.
All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B. Debt, you go to bed thinking about it. You wake up thinking about it. Here's the truth. The system traps you in debt. High-interest credit cards and loans make it nearly impossible to pay off your debt. And insane inflation, which, by the way, CPI this morning told us that it's ticked back up, keeps you stuck living paycheck to paycheck. Well, Done with Debt could be your lifeline. Done with Debt has an ingenious new strategy to help erase your debt faster and easier than you thought possible. Done with Debt analyzes all the debt options you qualify for. They know how to reduce bills. They know how to cut interest rates. Their skilled staff of negotiators know how to get out of debt and get it out of your life permanently without bankruptcy and without a new loan. That's the most important part. Done with Debt are the experts in brilliant strategies for eliminating debt, but you need to hurry because some debt solutions are time sensitive. Here's how easy they make it. All you have to do, go to donewithdebt.com. That's it. Go to donewithdebt.com. Head over there right now, donewithdebt.com. All right, 12 minutes till the hour on a live from Studio 6B Tuesday night. Let's do a little more sports and hear what that is. Slick Rick Ammirati. Here's the shirt of the month. For those of you asking for the shirt of the month, there it is.
Block out the sun. Look at that. That's huge.
That's it. That's the shirt of the month. If you use our code at LFS6B over at MyPillow, send us your receipt, and we'll send you out this shirt absolutely free. Just tell us your size. Slick Rick, what's going on?
You order that size, you can get a car cover as well. All right, there we go. Big D. Hey, one more sweep of the scoreboard for the night.
Now only the people on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and our socials who watched us during the commercial break get that joke.
I freshened
But these two over here, with friends like this, who needs enemies?
Right.
Go ahead, Slick.
Or enemas, for that matter. All right, here we go. NCAA men's basketball. Here we go. Gonzaga right now trailing St. Mary's 31-27 with a minute to go in the first half. We got South Dakota State over Denver 8-3, just underway. About 5 minutes into the first quarter, the first half there. So the other finals I gave to you early tonight. NHL action. The Rangers with a good win in Carolina. They blanked the Canes 1-0. The Senators over the Penguins 2-1 in OT. Sabres down the Red Wings 7-3. Avs over the Flames. Flames over the Avs. Check that. 2:32 to go there in the first. Blackhawks and Ducks tied at 2. 9 to go in the second. And at the end of 2, the Stars lead the Panthers 3-1. We got a story tonight. Rick brought this to my attention. Utah's basketball team, the ladies basketball team, I should say, has had a heck of a bad run. Actually, they're 24-90 over the past 4 seasons. Not doing too well. And Kayla Ard had a press conference on Sunday afternoon. And Fran, if you could just run cut 2, and they're talking about a rebuild or not, and if we could just cut 2 there. And this young lady.
How do you plan to rebuild for next season?
I'm not going to be rebuilding. I just coached my last game at Utah State. I spoke with Diana, and they're going in a different direction, and I respect her decision, and I hope they get a really good coach in.
Yep. That's it. Meeting over.
Last question. All right.
Okay.
She got fired after the game?
Right after the game.
Right after.
They asked her that question. They're going in a new direction. Forward. Anyway, so that's a sad story there for that young lady.
24-90. You're lucky you made it that long.
I know, exactly. And she made $215,000 a year. Not bad. Good work if you can get it. One more quick story. Big D. Let me just get to this story here. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Lost it. Okay, this is what happens to me. Okay, yeah. UFC legend Mark Coleman hospitalized after saving parents from house fire. This is Dylan Gwynn of Breitbart. UFC Hall of Famer Mark Coleman remains hospitalized due to smoke inhalation after charging into his parents' home to rescue them from a house fire Tuesday morning, according to reports. Coleman, 59, pulled his mother and father out of his childhood home near Toledo, Ohio. However, the UFC legend became stricken with smoke inhalation after returning yet again to retrieve his dog. Coleman was airlifted to a hospital for treatment. Authorities have not yet revealed the cause of the blaze. I'm a very firm believer in the power of prayer, Coleman's longtime friend and UFC veteran Wes Sims wrote on Facebook. I sent family and some friends a few pictures of Mark Coleman's current condition. I know Mark, if he could talk, he'd say, film this, Wes, we are going viral. Mark's parents' house burnt down last night. Mark saved both his parents and went back for Hammer, his dog. He was flighted to Toledo and is currently intubated and sedated. I swear to God, he's one of the toughest individuals ever created, even though, even through so much a movie at this point, could not give his life's works justice. So basically, Coleman is a heavyweight legend in both UFC and Pride Fighting Championships. Coleman was a 2-time heavyweight champ in the UFC and became a Pride Grand Prix champion. So he was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame in 2008, Big D. So prayers go out to Mr. Coleman there, former fighter. And that's a wrap in sports.
All right, Slick. Very good. Sports is brought to you by MyPillow and Mike Lindell. Mr. Zier, host of Breaking Point, 8 a.m. Saturday mornings. What's on your radar? Anything in the news you want to talk about?
Just a couple of quick things here. I will be showing you guys some more clips from my restoring the American Dream in our cities with 3 black pastors that I flew in here to the America First Warehouse to talk about how the vote can change and may change in some of the inner cities in America, specifically Chicago. And I hope Richmond, Virginia can get their act together. And New York City, right? So these guys were so awesome. I sent it out everywhere. I sent it to the Trump campaign. I hope they watch it because it's very moving and very powerful. So I'll be sharing some clips on that. The RNC has new leadership. I pressed Lara Trump 2-3 weeks ago about will the GOP focus on the inner cities? And again, you can't win Illinois in the presidential, but you can set an example. You can say, I hear you, and they can reach out, and maybe Trump can get another 5-7 points in the general. That's, I guess, my theory. And I just wanted to talk about the battleground states. Every battleground state Trump is leading in now, except Pennsylvania, as real clear politics polling averages. He's only down by 0.8%, but it's notable to point out, I've said it before, Pennsylvania has 70,000 more Republican voters than it did just 2 years ago. And the Democrats have lost votes. But he's up as much as 7 in Nevada, 5 in Arizona, 6.2 in Michigan. So it's looking good for now, but I think he's got to win by 15, 20 points to ensure against some of the fraud that took place, in my opinion. But I also wanted to just talk one more quick thing. The UFC, pathetic Ron Filipowski. He's got about 800,000 followers on X, bashing Trump for ignoring his grandson at the UFC fights the other night. And it was schmoozing with B-list celebrities instead of hanging out with his grandson.
Who's his grandson?
I think it was from Jared. But Ivanka, because he was with Ivanka.
Yeah,
right?
I saw Ivanka, and they were sitting cage side.
But instead of talking about the incredible response he got and the stamina this guy's got,
well, he's a hater.
Yeah,
right?
so
he's a total hater.
But the New York Post put it on the cover today, or like in page 6, and it was like in the headlines on the Post this evening. But just not true. He's a very caring family man. Whatever the left thinks about him. And he's very family oriented. So,
I mean, the response to him walking out at every UFC event is overwhelming.
Yeah.
I mean, he took pictures at everybody. He met. I mean, people. We talk about hot sports and how people are these guys in sports. Joe Burrow ran over there. Nick Bosa ran over there.
Yeah,
they're
Burrow.
all taking pictures with him. I mean, I think there's a lot more MAGA in sports than they probably want to admit.
No doubt.
But certainly more than we know as well. Well, all the fighters, of course, can't get enough of them.
And the kid's a young kid. It's like be seen, not heard. And that's the way it was when I was out with my father. My dad took me to the fights. I saw great fights. I used to watch Jerry Cooney box at the Comac Arena. And that was 40 years ago. It was at least. So
more than that.
I didn't. I didn't demand
be seen,
attention.
not heard. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds like a new T-shirt. All right, as always, we
That's gonna be
salute our
my new one.
military,
Damon's gonna
active
give it to me.
police, firefighters, first responders, EMTs, everybody on the front lines protecting us, all our truckers, all our farmers. Thanks to the great John Solomon for giving us extended time tonight. Important stuff. Mr. Zier, Rick, Aaron Frank, great job as always. We will see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m., right here live from Studio 6B.